Good morning. I'm
Good
sorry
morning.
I got you up on this bright Sunday morning,
I was probably up
early
already in the yard.
Arizona time. You've already been out working?
hmm
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I had to make everybody breakfast, and I checked on all my plants, but I got to go back out and water and transplant some seedlings. So,
And I got 6 inches of snow.
yeah, you live where the snow lives.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Welcome to all of our viewers. My name's Dara Forleo, owner of the Whole Pet Grooming Academy. Today, I will say you are, what am I trying to say here? Must need another coffee. I need to get my brain working. I am with Michelle Knowles, and if everybody who doesn't know Michelle, Michelle and I met probably about 4 or 5 years ago, kind of online. Mostly we had an online relationship first, and that solidified in Pasadena when we were there a few years ago, and now
Right before
we
COVID.
have these. Right before COVID, yeah. Same time that we met Jennifer or met up with Jennifer. But Michelle and I had started talking back a while ago, and I feel like you've been one of my mentors in this industry. That's kept me going. Your drive, your passion has really kept me on course. And thank you for that. Because you have
I really
so
care
much
about the industry. I really care about all the people that I've met. And even if you don't do the same thing that I do, I really want you to succeed. I want everybody to succeed. If they've got passion and drive and skill and talent, absolutely. I'm going to do everything I can to support them.
Yeah, well, and you do just that. I mean, you are so giving and so kind and so nurturing to everybody in this industry. You're always ready to share. You're always ready to give and help and acknowledge. And it's a breath of fresh air.
Well, I don't think everybody feels that way. Sometimes helping people can seem like it's pushy, overbearing, aggressive. I've been called Captain Bly. So, it happens. But it doesn't make me stop talking. I just continue my conversation with people who want to listen to what I have to say.
Very well. So I've been asking everybody through this, and if you want to tell just a little bit about how you got involved in the industry and what brought you to where you are today.
All right. It's an interesting story, I suppose. I did not set out to become a groomer at all. It didn't even cross my mind. Didn't occur to me that was a profession or a career. I already had 2 small children, and I was already divorced. And I was looking. I qualified for grants and some scholarships, and I thought, you know what, I really, really dig animals. And I applied to Purdue University to their veterinary program and was accepted. So at the time, they like you to work in an animal field while you're going through your studies as well. So I had a couple jobs. I had a research job that was very temporary, and I also worked at the Indianapolis Zoo. And that was a wonderful time, and I loved it. But I needed money right away because I had 2 small children and I was divorced. So a friend of mine said, well, why don't you ride along in my mobile van? And I said, okay, I have nothing to do on a Sunday or whatever. So we went out, and it was interesting. I thought, you know what, this is something that could possibly work. The reason I didn't pursue veterinary medicine is because there is the research aspect of it that is, my heart's not in it. my heart's not in the research part of it that you absolutely have to have to apply your trade as a veterinarian. So I have deep respect for veterinarians. And having to go through all that takes a tough constitution to get all the way through that. And then, of course, look at sick pets all the time, every day. During my research portion, I was responsible for brushing the teeth of rats because we were studying toothpaste. And I took care of them for 6 solid weeks. And I came in one day and all of their skulls had been boiled and labeled and put on a tray. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Nope, that's no, that's not for me. That's not, no. So I withdrew from school and started pursuing a career in grooming. I didn't know that it would take me here, but it was something that interested me very greatly. And of course, I always had in the back of my mind the medical portion of it as well, skincare and things like that. So I actually went to the Indianapolis Library, which at the time, back in the day, there was no internet. So a lot of people do ask me, like, why did you read books? What's going on? Yeah, there was no internet, young summer children. Yeah. So I went there and they had 98 titles on grooming. And all of them weren't the same. Some of them were like
which is amazing
for 4-H. Yeah. And 98 titles isn't really very much if you think about it. That's what my library represented, the entire industry in 98 titles. And half of them were just like husbandry for chicks and 4-H stuff. But I read them all.
Oh.
And all in one weekend. And then I started kind of kidnapping stray dogs off the street and grooming them in my home and finding homes for them. So that's kind of how I started out. I actually started in mobile. And found out that I really hate it. I really hate mobile. I love mobile groomers, and it's a very necessary portion of the industry. It's just not for me. So I have all my respect and love go to those mobile groomers who love it and make it work. We can do this in so many different variations. I'm glad that they have found that to serve the client and also to serve their heart. Some people enjoy working by themselves and driving. I don't like driving. I like all my stuff there to be stationary. I like plenty of water. I want all my additives and things I like on the shelf so I can just reach and get it. So I only lasted about 2 weeks in mobile at that time. And I've tried it twice since then. Still hate it. So I ended up in salons. I groomed in salons for a long time. I owned one briefly. Decided it wasn't for me. Also, my husband traveled for his work, so we were always on the move. And basically, it just snowballed, and I ended up working for a few veterinarians. And I'm like, hey, I really like this, especially if the veterinarian was willing to let me sit in on surgeries and look at necropsies and hand me skin cases. And it just was snowballed from there. And I met Animal Health Services, I think in 2007, and I had previously worked for the clinic manager. And he and I got along really well. And he's like, hey, why don't you come work here? And they didn't have a grooming department at all. And he was just figuring maybe they could get some grooms in. And I went in there and transformed the whole place because I have a way of doing that. I am a tornado, and I do realize that. So those of you who think that I don't know, I know. So I worked there for about, I'm going to say, near 10 years and developed the department, developed the esthetician courses for Yves Saint Bernard. And after my time there was done, I moved on, and I really enjoy at this time being brand free and sponsor free so that I can speak freely. And if there's something I don't agree with in a product line, I can say so. It doesn't mean that the whole product line is stupid and yucky and it doesn't work. It simply means that I personally may not like it, or it doesn't fulfill something in therapy or as a therapeutic product. So my mission currently is to catalog and find the value of all the products that are currently on the market and then categorize them and put them in their category of therapeutic, yes, maintenance, yes, and find out what exactly those products can and cannot do. So it's quite extensive. In order to do that, I pulled back and I use a baseline shampoo and conditioner that only have like 5 ingredients each. And then I can use additives to that to make my therapeutics. But now that I know for a fact that is my baseline product, I can then bring in other products and compare to my baseline products and see where they fit on the therapeutic scale. Now, not every shampoo and conditioner is going to be therapeutic. Maintenance is therapeutic. Maintenance is health of the skin. So if it's a good maintenance product, that's the category it belongs in. Sometimes you'll find a protein shampoo and they're using it therapeutically. However, it's built on keratin or collagen, which are basically fillers. And I wouldn't say therapeutic. They're not giving minerals or vitamins or proteins into the skin. They're simply filling the pieces and making that coat look really nice and smooth when it's finished. So in that way, I'm categorizing what's there. So that's where I am today. That's what I do today.
Oh, my internet is really
It's a little wonky.
acting up on me, Michelle. Oh my goodness.
No worries.
It is, isn't it? I'm getting bits and pieces of you. I'm staying clear, but so as you were going through all these processes.
Uh-oh. So while we're waiting for Dara to come back, I currently groom at Coats and Tails in Arizona, and I also do 1 day a week at Petite Pup Daycare, where we do 15 pounds and under. I'm there mostly for supplementation of grooming and just as an ancillary service for the clients, but I enjoy it. And little pampered dogs under 15 pounds, if you can do 6 or 7 of those, at a nice price, that's a really nice day. And it's fun, and you get to see the other girls and the little dogs run around and have a good time. So I'm currently doing that. I also have a diploma course, 2-level diploma course with Whole Pet Academy. And I teach esthetician for salon environment, and I also teach esthetician work for veterinary environment, which is the master's. So I have developed those. They are brand free. They teach you the science and give you the theory that you need to continue on into the field. I think that it gives you a good foundation as an esthetician to go through these courses so that you then can speak with knowledge about all the things that you learned. You can speak to other veterinarians. You can speak to other estheticians. You can speak to groomers. It's much easier when you have that knowledge to go in and see a pet and assess it. Then you know exactly what you're looking for, exactly the changes that you should be seeing, and what you can do with your product selection, depending on what brand you see in front of you or what you order in. So I was just telling them a little bit about our academy and the courses that are offered there.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that when you start, what the progression that we've had with it, the way you started and the number of students we have in your classes, yet the seeing them. I've just watched the transformation of a few and meeting some of these women that have completed and finished your complete esthetician program. Mm-hmm. They're just they're on a completely different level than other groomers. It's amazing to me what they have done and what you've given to them. And I can say I'm watching one go through that. We were talking about Alyssa, who's on our floor and just graduated and is in your level 400 class. And just her passion when she talks about going through your class, her face lights up. It's like, she's like, and she goes, I love Michelle. And what you bring, it's so amazing. Where do you find your inspiration?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that I can say that or pinpoint it. I've always been special. And I think that as groomers as a whole, our industry, we're all just a little bit special. And I think you need that spark, that ingredient, that when you see a dog, no matter what dog it is, you're like, oh my gosh, that dog. Everybody that I know in this industry will see a dog before they see the people. When I look on the street, I don't see the wonky person walking in a bra and, a kilt. I don't see that. But if they're walking a dog, I'm like, oh, look at their dog. I just see dogs. I see the animals. And I don't know if that's something that's just in my brain, like a groomer. But I have always been interested in learning. I was the girl in elementary school that got in trouble for reading books. So always, I have to feed my brain. And if I don't have 3 or 4 things going, feeding my brain with information so that I can categorize it later, I tend to get quite bored. So
I relate completely with that.
Yeah. I will have a podcast going, also watching a video on how to make my mushroom substrate, also while cooking, feeding the dogs, helping Don with his homework. I mean, it's constant. But that's just my natural state of being. And believe it or not, I used to be quite introverted, and I still am introverted in my social life. But as I have matured, I suppose, I have learned how to be a little bit more social. It does not come naturally to me. It's a skill that I've worked on over time. Still don't get it right all the time. Sometimes I have word vomit and I say the right thing, but my intentions are pure. And people are like, why did you say that? And I'm like, I didn't mean it like that. So it happens. We're all human. So.
Yep. Yeah. What, who, I don't know, and I missed if maybe you said, but any major influences? Somebody outside the industry?
From outside the industry. Probably the biggest influence on me, and this is going to sound just cliche and trite and whatever, but it has to be my husband. My husband is one of the most, there is not even a word for it. He is the manliest man. He is the sweetest, kindest, scariest, most loving individual I've ever met in my life. He is my very best friend. He is my favorite human in the whole entire universe. And we've been together almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years in July. And the trials and tribulations that we've been through, just seeing his resiliency and what he's learning, he grew up without a mom, so he's not well versed in the ways of the female. So it was a constant battle in our early marriage. He grew up in a very patriarchal family, and I grew up in a very matriarchal family, and so the clashes there were very interesting, to say the least. But he is very wise, and he's very knowledgeable, and he knows people like I've never seen. He is just a really well-rounded, stable human being. And he became blind about 7 years ago when he went in for surgery for an appendectomy. Came out on the other side blind, completely blind. So we changed our entire life at that time to get him the help he needed to relearn how to live in the world and how to be okay again. So he is now completing his master's, and he is going in for his certification for his vision rehabilitation therapist license. So it's been a long road, but learning the resiliency of your best friend and another human being, and seeing that journey so closely, I think did affect me in ways that I can't even tell you. They're so profound and so deep. So outside the industry, I would say my wonderful husband. Inside the industry, there's so many, but a few do stick out that have contributed the most to my education in esthetician work and grooming in life. I think my hugest mentor is Monica Van de Ven, and she is the head technician for Yves Saint Bernard in Italy. And when she first came to America, probably in 2008, maybe before that. No, it was before that, like 2005. Because that's when I had written that article for Groomer to Groomer about the elusive allergy. It's the same magazine that the artist who won the first Groomer of the Year award, and the artist is on the cover. That's where I wrote my first article for Barkley, and I think that was in 2005, I believe, but I could be wrong. I don't know time. But Monica Van de Ven, she turned the light bulb on for me as far as she tied together grooming and science. And she has a particular way of teaching the science of skin that is really not cohesive. So I took all that information and I made it cohesive for an American mind, to put it in a way that people can understand. She's very European. She was born in South Africa. She grew up in Europe. She pays rent in Holland and also pays another rent in Spain, and also teaches in Italy, and of course travels the world. She speaks 7 languages. I mean, how could you not be just amazed at being mentored by somebody like this? She's really, really, believe me, she's not a nice person, but she's wonderful. She will call you out quick. Why did you do that to that paw? Why did you use that product? Okay. She's like, but she is harsh on you so that you learn. She makes you question what you're doing every step of the way. Another mentor I would have is probably Phyllis Stansberry. And even though she's probably no longer with us and I don't keep into contact, so she was in her 80s when I first started salon grooming. And, but she actually, I was full of myself. I was an arrogant, know-it-all young person. I know that is so surprising to everyone. But she would tie a knot in my tail when I needed it and give me the information that I needed, and again make me question what I was doing. I think the best mentors absolutely do. A veterinary mentor that I have had in my life, and very valuable information, were all the veterinarians that worked at Animal Health Services. One of them was Dr. Cliff Favor. Learned so much from that man. I learned from all of the veterinarians that worked there. Brian Ashmore, Tanya Wyman, so many veterinarians. And all the veterinarians that I've worked for after I left that place also were very lovely. Terry Davies out of Faust, she's now retired. Just people that I've met. And strangely enough, I'm very inspired by my students. When I was seeking and when I was going out and wondering, well, how do these things happen? What's the correlation between this bad skin and this stupid shampoo that I'm bathing them in every single week and not getting any results? Why is this happening? Why are we maintaining a bad skin? So in my quest, I started formulating and mixing way before I did veterinary work, but started formulating and mixing with products that were already there, seeing if I could find a combination that would be better for the skin that I was working on. And what I met Monica, I know how it feels to listen to me talk about it and have these people, some people cry. Some people are like, oh my God, I've done everything wrong. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You built a foundation on which you could compare your future knowledge. I don't think any education is a bad education as long as you continue and see the flaws in your previous education. So I have successfully married science and grooming for myself, and I really do want to give that to other groomers. When I first learned it, I cried. I was blown away. I was like, oh, those are the answers that I've been looking for. Those are the pieces that make grooming and science fit together. And then I started having success. Then I started having these skins heal and grow hair and be healthy and less itchy, and the quality of life for the client and the dog, both, I mean, just shot through the roof as far as success and quality. And how could you hate that? I've been doing this so long. I think one of the things that I love the most is when I see either on a Facebook group or I hear in a conversation in passing, I hear my words coming out of a young groomer's mouth and they don't even know it came from me. They're like, no, this is what I learned and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, I feel so blessed and so successful. I don't care if they know I said it. What I'm thrilled about is that it's out there. That knowledge is now out there and people are mulling it around and turning it over and trying different methods and techniques around that idea. And I am blown away by how much skincare means now as to when I first started. When I first started, everybody just wanted a technical haircut. And if it didn't have enough hair, it wasn't even a candidate. Move along. I want a dog with nice hair. Everybody wanted the dogs with nice hair. And now everybody has taken a 180 turn. And now they're like, wow, let's really make this skin beautiful so that later we can have beautiful hair to trim.
Yeah, it
So
has. It goes deeper than that too, with even adding nutrition factors in, and but the whole bigger picture just is it's coming. The industry is making leaps and bounds
well, I think now
for
that they
that.
see the value of good skincare,
Right.
before nobody really knew. There
Yeah.
was no correlation. There wasn't anybody doing what I did in
Yeah.
America anyway until I started doing it. And it snowballed. And I think now that they understand, oh, there is success at the end of the
Yeah.
tunnel. You don't have to do a crusty dog with no hair. You don't have to deal with, all these diseases that make the hair fall out. You don't have to deal with that because you can help it. You can fix it, and maybe not fix it 100%, but you can get it to 90, and that's better than what it was before.
But yeah,
So
exactly. Well, and your voice has reached so on such a different level, which brings us to what is coming up next month, the logo behind you, which is very pretty logo, by the way. That one. So in our journey together, we have created these courses and the school, and now you started, which has an amazing group of industry leaders, not just leaders, but um, stylists and groomers, wherever the coalition, the Master Groomer Council of Best Practices. Do you want to talk a little bit about that
sure.
and how you came on board with that and why you wanted to create this council?
So how many times have you heard in your entire career, even if you've groomed for 4 years or 1 year or 18 years, it doesn't matter. How many times well, we're not standardized. We don't have any standards. We didn't even have low standards. We just had no standards. So we had great standards for breed profiles. Everybody had, I mean, that's cut into stone. We know exactly where that, tuck up is supposed to be and where you're supposed to blend and where you're supposed to put the line. We know all that stuff. However, I probably had a like mind as well as everybody else. They're like, oh, somebody's going to step up and make the best practices. Somebody's going to do it. And I got sick of waiting for somebody else to step up and do it. Every single industry, every single profession has an inner council made up of members of that industry that set standards for the industry. Or you can be held responsible and accountable for actions that you've done, and you go in front of the council. It's the same as the veterinary board. The veterinary board is made up of veterinarians and certified veterinary technicians with a bunch of other letters behind their name. And when a vet gets a complaint and they get it reported to the board, the veterinary medical board, then they have to go before that board and answer questions to make sure that they're using the standard of care. Okay, so there's a standard of care. I made that for groomers. So I started the council. I didn't want it to be, oh, I'm the boss of it, so everything I say goes. It's not like that. The reason the logo is round is because it is a round table. Nobody's the president. Nobody's the vice president. All the members are board members. The only thing that I do is I mediate and I vote because I am a master groomer and I have voting powers. So what we've done is we have invited everybody in the industry, and it doesn't matter if you're a beginning groomer or a master groomer or an elite in the industry. It doesn't matter where you come from. Even if you just work with animals, you are more than welcome to put your 2 cents in. We all come together, and we have the first edition of Best Practices already published. We come together and we talk about the things that are hard to talk about in the industry. All the things that we fight about on Facebook or in person or at the shows. There's stickler things like plucking ears and should we do anal glands and is it right to reverse shave or whatever. So what we've done is we've taken the science, the known science of dog and cat skin, and we've put them up against grooming practices. And I wanted to see where everybody's thoughts were, where that middle ground is, and what the best practices would be. When you're doing everything according to the science and according to the known techniques that are available to us today, I wanted to know what the best practices were, not only for groomers, but also for clients. If you have an educated clientele, they're going to ask you better questions. They're not going to say, well, do you do the nails? Well, why don't you do the anal glands? They're already going to know because they have it in a little handbook that they can print off the internet, or you can give them a copy off your printer, that they now understand. We're all on the same page now. So we use the Oxford debate rules. Everybody comes in and they say their piece. If it gets heated, then we nip it in the bud and we redirect so that we're just talking about the subject matter. There's no really emotion or feelings, and people are joining by the boatloads. Like, I can't even believe it. We just had 20 when we first started, but now I think we're up to probably 50 or so. So, I mean, it has grown. And I think that, and we do have some international members as well. And you are all welcome. I don't speak other languages, but if you can speak broken English, come on. Come on. Yeah, we would love to have your input. So we've set up the rules that anybody can put an idea to the floor for voting. So let's say I wanted to talk about interdigital cysts, because I've got a lot of dogs and they hunt and they hike, and I want to know where we stand on interdigital cysts. So as a groomer, I would go and research interdigital cysts and find out what causes them, how we fix them, and this, that, and the other. And then I would put forth to the meeting, hey, I want to do the protocol for interdigital cysts. So you write up the protocol, you submit it to the group, and then it goes on the docket to be voted for by the master groomers to be included in the best practices, or it needs to be worked on still. So if you are a master groomer of anything, master feline groomer, master pet esthetician, if you've achieved a master in one of our industry certifications or diploma courses, you have voting rights. And the reason we made it that way is because we encourage certification. We encourage education. We encourage continued education. We want you to be the very best you can be. So as an incentive, if you want to vote, have a final vote, please start working on one of the certifications in our industry, and then you will have voting rights as well. But anybody can bring a topic to the floor. So in our first quarterly meeting is going to be on March 20th of this year.
Yep.
If you friend me on Facebook and then ask to be added to the group, I will happily do that. There is an application process. I've waived it for quite a few because I know you personally, or somebody has vouched for you that I know, like you're in somebody's friend group. And as long as you are a groomer, you are welcome. And that's really what the application establishes, or the questions when you come in. It just establishes that you are in the industry. That's all. Now, when it comes to voting, when it's ready to vote, you will be asked to submit your certificate, your master groomer certificate, or your master certificate for wherever you got it from. And then you will be sent a special invitation to the voting session. So that's basically master groomer in a nutshell. We're not enforcing these. This is an ideal. This is the best practices, and the closest you can get to the best practices, the better for you. If you find that a technique works for you that's not in best practices, submit it to the floor and we'll include it if it has merit. And we will rigorously discuss it and then include it if it does have merit. All right.
Yeah, the first year we were meeting every month to get things.
Yeah, because we had to establish the first edition. So it was laborious at first, and the meetings were very frequent. But now that we have the first edition, I invite everyone to go and read a copy of the best practices. If you disagree with something, you can bring it to the floor. And then when we vote, we'll discuss the pros and cons of taking it out of the literature or putting it in or adding to it or changing it. So even if something is written in there as a best practice, science changes. Techniques change over the years. So it is a living document, and we absolutely can change it to make it current with the current thought and technique and science.
Yeah. And for anyone, if you're not familiar with where to find all this information, there is a website, and it's also all on the Pet Pro Educators. If you're on our Facebook page for the Pet Pro Educators, we talk about it on Monday evenings during our, as we get close to meetings, we'll start talking about that. But you can download the file and the application, and I believe it's on Amazon. You can get a copy on Amazon.
I don't think it's on Amazon yet. For whatever reason, I have not pushed the final button, but we're still working on that. And believe it or not, you know what's holding it up? The freaking picture they want me to put on the cover.
Oh.
I just wanted it to be this background So every time that I change the size or how it's shaped or whatever, and then I put it on there, it doesn't fit the parameters, so they reject it. So I'm still working on it. For whatever
Okay.
reason, it won't accept the stupid picture.
A picture,
So
which is the
that's what's holding it
logo,
up.
right? Who
Yeah,
knows?
it's so
Wow.
weird. But I'm probably going to offer it for $10 if you want a little paperback bound book of it. I'll
Mhm.
probably order some to hand out at the shows. And also at my salon, but it is for everyone. You can download it free as a file. You can print it out. It's free to give away. It doesn't cost anything to become a member of the Counsil. There are people that have donated. One groomer did donate some money to help upkeep the website and upkeep the paperwork. So we are very transparent about any monies that we get because they do go into the actual work. I don't make a cent off of this. It's a labor of love. And I really want this information out there because I do believe we need a common ground.
Yeah.
So appreciative of you ladies. I had copies printed for all the girls in the salon. That's amazing. And if you can hand them to clients or at least give them the link, hand them to your clients. The clients love it. They're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this even existed. I'm like, it didn't until just a few years ago. But now we do have it. And I think that's really important. We need something because there are new people coming up in the industry who don't know even what the standard is of, shaving a foot or, doing the nails. It has stuff like that in there. It just breaks it down and says, okay, this is the proper way to do it with the least amount of harm. And that's something that we all agreed on, voted on, and that's why it's in the book.
Yeah, and that was back in May. Wasn't it May?
Last May.
Almost a year ago. So, and then we had a few more meetings and now we're gearing back up. So, what do you see the next steps in your journey?
Well, there's some things I cannot talk about and there's some things that I can talk about. So
talk about what you can.
Right. So there's some really exciting things on the horizon. Just as everybody is trying to do in their career, some people are at a stage where they're like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do a Bashan. I'm at the stage where it's becoming really rote for me to go in and just groom and whatever. And even the best veterinarians that I've talked to said you can only look at so much diarrhea and vomit before you're just done and want to do something else. If I never do a modified lamb again, it would not bother me. So I'm at that point in time when I'm really looking into education. I'm really looking into the different ways that I can branch out. So I am going to be doing the Mardi Gras Pet Expo, and I'm going to give you a class that has never been done before in the grooming industry. I'm going to do a class that's called Understanding Research for Groomers.
Oh,
because
wow.
I know, right? I'm so excited about it because here we are in all our grooming glory. We're all getting all technical and all scientific and throwing terminology around and peer-reviewed journals and this and that and the other. Many of us don't know what any of that really means. So I want to go over terms. I want to go over what a peer-reviewed article is and what it isn't, how to pick it apart, how to look at studies and see the flaws in the study, why a peer-reviewed paper becomes a peer-reviewed paper, and what are those parameters. So we're going to really look at understanding what research really is and what peer-reviewed research really is. And that's something that I am just so stoked about. You can't even know. You can't know. So it'll unlock a lot of the keys when you're in the groups and you hear people throwing around, well, where's your paper? Where's your peer-reviewed research? Where's this? Where's that? Sometimes they don't even know what they're asking for. And there's people that in the background going, well, I don't know anything about peer-reviewed papers. I don't know anything about that. If it's peer-reviewed, does it mean it's right? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So I won't get into that because I'm saving it for the course. But
and when is that? That's in
Mardi Gras, I believe it's in June.
June, okay.
I believe so. I could be totally wrong. Like I say, I don't keep track of time.
But
I do believe that it is in June. You can do a little search for it. The Mardi Gras Pet Expo, I believe, is online. So it is very accessible to whoever wants to come. So I will be doing that. I believe so. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that's coming up that's going to be really interesting. I know that both Dara and I are going to be at the next Pet Pro Classic
Yes.
in Dallas, and
Yep.
it's going to be a whole new venue. They have
Venue, whole
upgraded.
new
It's
show.
the
Oh,
whole show is going to
so
be just
exciting.
different. They're growing by leaps and bounds.
Yep.
Scott, Pam's son, is now helping organize and refurbish everything that's going on with ISCC and that whole deal. And I'm telling you, they're coming out with both guns blazing, Texas style, pew 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 pew.
He really
And I
guns
love to see
blazing
the
or
growth.
pistols blazing.
Yeah. And I just love to see the growth there. I have
Yeah.
all the respect for Pam Lortz, and I think that
Yeah.
she is another one of my mentors
Yeah.
indirectly. I've met her several times before, but 9 times out of 10, if you've been taught by me, then you are actually being taught her material. So um, just it's very thorough, it's very thought out. And Scott Wasserman, bless his heart, said, yeah, she's really at a college grooming level. ISCC is college level. It's
Yep.
amazing. If you want to do the very best and get the very best certification in regular grooming, the ISCC course is just amazing. You will learn so much.
Oh,
You really
it's
will.
the organization, just everything they are. Class act. So yes, somebody loves your course. I'm wondering if it might be Lori. We just see Facebook user, but it might be Lori or Alyssa. But who knows? We have so many people in your class. There's so much going on. Well, you have taken I have taken enough of your time. I'm going to ask one more question. And what is some advice you'd give to up and coming?
Don't let someone take you down. Don't let someone tell you you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, your feet suck, unless they love you. Because if they love you, they're going to tell you, yeah, that line's wrong, your feet suck, you could do better on the head. Don't be discouraged because you can't get it right the first time or the second time or the third time. You will get it. If your passion is there, you absolutely will get it. Keep going. If you find that you're being abused, if you feel abused, like emotionally at a salon or a place of business, find another one, because there are so many nurturing salons that would love to apprentice someone with just passion and talent. Find one of those. Find one of those. Absolutely. You're going to find those salons that are just sticklers and it has to be their way and there's no room for growth. And they want everybody to groom the same cookie cutter style. Every single person that competes, if they're doing Bichons or Poodles or whatever, if they're doing Bichons, every Bichon looks beautiful and every single one of them look different. That's why it's so hard for these judges sometimes to match it to the standard of what they're looking for. But everybody has their own unique style, and you develop that style. Now, having said that, you should absolutely know your breed standard, because only by knowing the proper proportion of a breed standard can you then embellish it and make it something new and unique and your own. But I'm a stickler for a good foundation. If you want to learn how to groom a fancy Scotty trim, then you need to know the show breed standard Scotty trim before you go all out and embellish and enhance. So I suggest learning the foundation, get a good foundation, and keep learning, keep reading, keep going to classes, keep pushing the envelope. Try something everybody says they've never tried before. You might come up with something, a technique, a tool, a course, a way of thinking that forever changes another groomer and makes them better. So that's what I would tell an upcoming.
Always words of wisdom from you. It's awesome. And Jessica, yes, Jessica is an up and coming with us. She is.
Absolutely.
Yep. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me this morning, and to all the instructors this past month that have joined me and listened to me and have just been so wonderful for the industry. You guys have just, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more thrilled with where everything is going and the direction that you guys all bring. So it's amazing.
Well, I think we've done it together. It started out just you and me, kind of.
Yeah.
And it has grown so big, and I'm so glad. It's part of my evil plan.
Oh boy.
We make everybody
Part
groomers.
of the evil plan. Where are we
Let's own
going?
dogs and groom.
Well, you guys enjoy your Sunday. And, I think what I'm going to do for the next month, I kind of put it out there. Any of our students watching, I am going back to some of our graduates and going to interview them and see what they're up to. I haven't done that in a while. I've posted a couple of things, but we've got some heavy hitters out there that I want to bring back and reintroduce and get them going. So we should be seeing that in the next couple weeks. But otherwise, and tomorrow night on the Pet Pro Educators, we have Dave Campanella joining us. And I'm hoping you can join Michelle, because how much we all love Dave. He's just so much fun.
I can. Tomorrow I will be available.
Yeah, we're going to be talking silicones. So
Yay.
This might be something to add to our Master Groomer Council.
Perhaps, yeah.
A hot topic right now.
Dave would be a good.
Right. Well,
I might extend an invitation to Dave for the council as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that.
A lot of wealth.
He doesn't hands-on groom, but his wife does, and he develops so many products, and he's got some really great classes. I really like Dave simply because, he does sell Best Shot. However, when he talks to you about formulation or products, he's just a wealth of information. Sure, he wants you to buy his stuff, but he'll talk about all the other stuff and the ingredients and whatever. He doesn't care, and he's more of the mind to give you good information than trying to sell you his shampoo. And I really enjoy him for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and he'll take hours at the booth and talk to you and answer questions.
He really will. He wants you to be an informed consumer. Yeah.
Yep. And his classes are fun.
Yeah, they are.
He's a really fun speaker. So, all right. Well, join us tomorrow evening when we have Dave, and I will see you tomorrow evening as well. And thank you again. And I love you.
I love you too, lady. And I love all you groomers in the industry out there. Even if you hate my guts, I love you anyway.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining us.